You're being sued for alienation of affection by your husband, Kevin.
Excuse me?
It seems you've been having an affair while Kevin is in the hospital.
I've never cheated on my husband. For the past 2 years, my schedule has been packed with work, keeping me busy every day. So, I don't have enough time for an affair. And most importantly, my husband Kevin is already. Let's go back a few years. My name is Ashley. I've been with my husband Kevin since high school. After graduating from college at 22, we got married and started a web marketing company together. Since our college days, Kevin and I would say, we don't want to job hunt. And since we both loved reading, we dreamed of becoming freelance web writers, which led us to start our own company. Even as college students and web writers, we felt like rivals and friends, accumulating skills and knowledge together. This allowed us to start our web marketing company by the time we graduated, since our work was almost entirely remote. Kevin and I were always together, worked together, private life together. When I talk about our relationship with friends and acquaintances, they sometimes ask if we ever get tired of being together so much. But I've never once been bored with Kevin. I've always thought of Kevin, who constantly challenges himself and strives for greater heights. He's also incredibly cool, and I admired him deeply. It motivated me to work harder, determined not to be outdone by him. That's why the house felt empty without Kevin. It felt as if nothing was left. Kevin, who was always by my side, is now at the hospital. It seems to be cancer. Despite the doctors saying there's very little hope for recovery, I couldn't accept that reality. I couldn't bear being alone at home, so I started working part-time outside. Working a part-time job 3 days a week while managing our web marketing business kept me busy and helped me forget the loneliness of Kevin not being at home. Outside of work, I visited Kevin in the hospital as much as possible, making time to be with him. Perhaps because of this lifestyle, my own health started to decline. One hot summer day, after visiting Kevin and going to my part-time job, I found myself unable to move and sitting down on my way home. I realized I hadn't had any water at all, but unable to move, there was nothing I could do. Despite feeling an urge to just collapse, as I sat there, I heard an elderly lady's voice exclaim, "What are you doing?" This lady is a neighbor of mine. I recognized her face, but never had a chance to talk to her. Yet, she was very kind, inviting me into her cool house and handing me a sports drink, saying, "Drink this. I heard that older people are prone to heat stroke." Maybe that's why she always keeps sports drinks in her fridge during summer. When the kind lady asked me, "Why were you sitting there?" I found myself talking about Kevin. My beloved Kevin will soon be gone, facing a future filled only with sadness and despair. I don't know what to do anymore. Before I knew it, I was crying in front of the lady, saying, "I absolutely hate that he's leaving me." And she just hugged me. I don't have a mother, raised by a single father. This was the first time I was hugged by an older woman.
It's okay. I'll be here watching over you.
She smiled, saying that, and walked me back to my house. When I asked how she knew where I lived, Evan thought we never talked. It turns out our huge house made us known as wealthy people in the neighborhood. We might be considered wealthy, but I never imagined such rumors were circulating. It seems that Kevin and I were often seen holding hands while shopping together. In the neighborhood, Kevin and I are thought to be a loving couple from a wealthy family.
There were rumors you had split up because you haven't been seen together lately. I'm relieved you haven't. We all enjoyed seeing you two so close.
Her laughter was contagious, making me laugh as well. From that day on, I became close to the old lady. Whenever she saw me walking alone, She goes out of her way to accompany me, sharing various stories, running a web marketing company, and always being cooped up at home. I am awkward at building relationships, but the old lady always helped me along. Thanks to her, I was able to become friends with other people in the neighborhood. Walking down the street, everyone greeted me, a testament to the old lady's strong communication skills and influence. Kevin got temporarily discharged, wanted to meet the old lady first, as I had talked a lot about her to him. I had talked a lot about the old lady whenever I visit him. When I introduced Kevin to the old lady living across from us, she burst into tears upon seeing him, saying, "It's been tough, hasn't it?" Which surprised us both. Kevin was surprised, but when the old lady stopped crying, he told her this.
Please continue to be friends with my wife after I'm gone. She seems to really like you.
Kevin's words made me burst into tears. The old lady was crying too, and only Kevin was smiling. Kevin, who lost a lot of weight, joked, "If you both cry, it makes me look like the bad guy, doesn't it?" Now, I can vaguely remember Kevin's face. What I remember the most are the times when Kevin was healthy. There were so many memories we spent together. I was somehow living my days, cherishing those memories. 2 years had passed since I first introduced Kevin to the old lady. When I was returning home from my part-time job as usual, someone said, "Excuse me." "Yes." "What is it?" "Is he lost?" The person, dressed in a black suit, said, "I am Johnson, an attorney at law," then gave me a business card. I said, as I received the business card, "What does an attorney want with me?" As I wondered, Mr. Johnson began to say something unbelievable.
You're being sued for alienation of affection by your husband, Kevin.
"Excuse me?"
It seems you've been having an affair while Kevin is in the hospital.
I've never cheated on my husband. For the past 2 years, my schedule has been packed with work, keeping me busy every day. So, I don't have enough time for an affair. I have never cheated on my husband.
Everyone accused of having an affair says that. It'll be easier if you just admit it now.
Do you have any evidence to support what you're saying? I glared at Mr. Johnson sharply, but undisturbed, he said, "Yes, I do," and pulled a photo from his bag. At first glance at the photo, I thought it was me. Taking a closer inspection, it was a photo of a woman who looked like me, walking closely with a man. Of course, I don't recognize the man. I don't know this man. Besides, my husband is. The words got caught up in my throat, hesitating for a moment to acknowledge a truth I hadn't accepted even after 2 years. I took a breath and then told Mr. Johnson, "My husband passed away 2 years ago. Yes, Kevin is no longer with me, even after 2 years." The sorrow of losing Kevin had not healed. Yet, this liar is mocking me as if trying to rub salt to that wound.
No, I can't believe such a lie. In fact, I am here on Kevin's request. I feel so sorry for Kevin. To think he was cheated on by his wife while he was bedridden.
Mr. Johnson's lies made really angry. Kevin is no longer in the hospital. I, who have wandered to the hospital several times even after Kevin's death, know this for a fact. Yet, to deceive me by using Kevin's name. I will never forgive this man. Well, then I'll show you evidence as well.
Evidence?
Evidence that Kevin is dead. Saying so, I decided to invite Mr. Johnson to my home. I don't even know his true identity. I know it is risky, but I had precautions for such situations, so there was no problem. I walked to work for my part-time job. When I passed by the old lady's house, she was just sweeping in front of her house. "Hi, Andy."
Oh, Ashley, welcome back. You with someone? How nice.
I waved back at the old lady, who greeted me with a smile. Unsure of what to do, I decided to send a secret signal to the old lady, just in case. Open the palm, fold the thumb, then grip the thumb with the other 4 fingers. The old lady looked startled at my gesture, and then went back into her house.
You seem to be close with your neighbor,
Said Mr. Johnson nonchalantly as I invited him into my home and opened the door to the family altar room. Please take your time, I said, and Mr. Johnson was very surprised because the photo on the altar was unmistakably Kevin, who clearly had passed away.
This can't be true.
Mr. Johnson dropped to his knees, checked his smartphone, and shouted while comparing the image displayed on it with Kevin's photo.
No way. This is different from the information I received.
Information? Did you receive it from the person who gave you that image? Peeking over Mr. Johnson's shoulder at his smartphone, I saw an image of Kevin and me, hand in hand, from happier times. When I pressed Mr. Johnson, who hastily hid his smartphone, with a "what's this about?" and a smile, he stuttered, trying to cover up, but finally began to reveal the truth. First of all, Mr. Johnson was, of course, not a liar. He bought information from an informant that Kevin and I are wealthy, and was told that Kevin's hospitalization was a good chance to deceive me. The plan was to extort money from me in exchange for his silence about an alleged affair to my bedridden husband. It was a truly infuriating scam. I'm so sorry, said Mr. Johnson, who was a con man, as he tried his best to apologize. He seemed to hope that his apologies would somehow smooth things over without causing further trouble. But it was not going to be that easy. The doorbell I had been waiting for to ring did, and I let in the police from the front door. Following the police, the old lady rushed in, extremely concerned, asking, "Are you okay?" The old lady and I had discussed the topic of self-defense for someone living alone, including the global SOS hand signal. You spread your hand, fold your thumb, and then enclose the thumb with the remaining 4 fingers. This sign is a globally recognized SOS hand signal. I had this conversation with the old lady just the other day, jokingly saying we'd use it if anything happened. After signaling the old lady with a hand signal, I had also sent an SOS alert to a security company, just in case. This was something Kevin had left behind for me. Kevin was worried about leaving me alone until his very last moments. Perhaps because I wasn't close with my single father. Kevin was constantly worried until I became friends with the neighbors, saying, there might be no one who can help me in case of emergency. And he made sure our home security was tight. The security company personnel apologized for the unnecessary trip since the police had arrived first. But they kindly told me to call them anytime if I would feel in danger again. Mr. Johnson was eventually arrested on suspicion of fraud, and I had to go to the police for questioning. After thanking the old lady, she cried with joy for my safety and saw me off to the police. After a long day of questioning, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep as soon as I got home. Not only for fraud, but Mr. Johnson was also apparently going to be charged for impersonating a lawyer, a fact I didn't expect. The police told me that the informant who sold mine and Kevin's information to Mr. Johnson could likely be arrested through him, so I could rest easy. Mr. Johnson apparently had other charges of fraud, and it seemed he would be spending a long time in prison. I even thought that anyone who tried to commit fraud using someone's deceased loved one deserves to spend their life in prison. The next day, I went to the old lady's house with a box of sweets. It was to thank her for her help. When I rang the doorbell, the old lady came out immediately, ran up to me, and asked with great concern, "Ashley, are you okay?"
You're not hurt? No one touched you or anything, right?
"No, I'm all good." "It's all thanks to you, Annie, for noticing the hand signal. Thank you so much."
Ashley, I hate you.
She refused the sweets I offered and frowned, making an angry face.
Why would you let someone dangerous into your home when you knew? You could have called the police right then and there.
I thought if I called the police then, he might escape. If I invited him in, I figured we could catch him on the spot. Thanks to Kevin, our home security is top-notch too.
Even so, you must not do dangerous things anymore. Kevin entrusted me with your care. If anything happens to you, Kevin is not going to be very happy. He must have wished for you to live happily and peacefully.
Tears welled up in my eyes at the old lady's words. Knowing it was dangerous, inviting Mr. Johnson over was, in hindsight, a mistake. Perhaps I had forgotten to care for myself after losing my husband. "I'm sorry," I said, wiping away my tears, and the old lady patted my back with a smile. "Let's have some tea inside," the old lady invited, and we ate the sweets I had brought together. She said, "It's been 2 years since Kevin passed, hasn't it? Maybe it's time to look for a new husband. I worry about you being alone." But I shook my head. My husband will always be Kevin. I will continue to think only of Kevin forever and ever. The old lady chuckled, saying, "Oh, you're still so in love."